Right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, we're going to be having a little bit of a change today. Um, Normally, I've wanted to do a single survival. However, I was going to do this on multiplayer, as I thought, well, why not? It's a good way of starting things and getting things going. But, like anything and everything, it's problematic with space engineers and multiplayer servers. One of the problems I've been encountering has been the servers disappearing. So you start to get into it, and suddenly, ooh, bye bye. So I thought I'm going to do something a little bit different. Actually, I know people do that show you when they're building in the game, but what I'm going to do today, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of a series on this. Um, I'm going to show you my construction world, and I'm going to show you how I go about building things. Now, yeah, it's going to be different. I know that XP Gamer and Captain Shack and all those others, they show you how they build things on the streams and stuff like that. Yes, but this is slightly different in the fact that what I'm creating is stuff that I want to use in my single survival, whether it be offline, online, multiplayer, whatever. These are objects or ships or bases or whatever that I actually want to use. Um, to a certain degree, you're going to get a little sneak peek of things that haven't been put on the workshop, that are still yet to be published, that have got to be tested, ideas I'm coming up with, concepts which may or may not work. So, I figured why not? It's a wee bit different, and maybe some of the things I do will give you a little idea of things you may want to do, take inspiration from. I have no idea, no clue, but if it does, great. So that's what I'm going to do. Whether you find it boring, whether you find it you like it, well, I don't know. But I hope you enjoy it. If you do, great. This is going to go on YouTube, obviously, so hit that like, hit subscribe button, and all that sort of stuff. Um, so what we got in here? Well, this is my construction world. Usually, what I do is I leave my character sitting there floating around. There he is. There's my little character, and as you can see, we're in an on-grav world. And the reason why I use that, obviously, it's easier and quicker and better for building things. The only thing you've got to be careful of is things like this, where they're atmospheric and they can float away. Now, I'll give you a quick tour. If you've watched my hints, tips and tricks, you might recognize this slightly, this little world. So this is basically one of the worlds this is my construction world, to put it basically, so you can understand. Right, what have we got here? Let's move on quickly before I tie myself up. What we got here is some stuff that I've already built. This is, you may recognize it, this Scarab, atmospheric, and now also space. So it can go up into space. There's the ion engines, hydrogen engines as well. And the idea is I wanted to take the Scarab design and push it a little bit further. So, I mean, it's not a great fighter in space. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be, it's not intended to be. The idea is for a mothership to be able to drop it down from space. It goes down, kicks a shit out of whatever it is it needs to, and then, provided it survived, it can then climb back up into space. This was just me being daft. A design that I wanted to see with hydrogen and stuff like that. Blimey, what is that? Good grief. There's a flare and a half on that. So yeah, that's what this is. It's just a design. Large ship, small ship gone wild to a certain degree, a little bit. This is what, right, this is my shuttle, and this is designed to work both in space and on the planet, but it is not designed to travel from one to the other. Now this gets carried by this thing. This it links up there. This is a Pathfinder. It was built for the UESC competition 33. I obviously don't know if at the end of the day the guys will even get around to reviewing it. I've been trying to follow some of the videos, but truth be told, I haven't seen it, so I don't think they'll get around to doing it. Which, well, shame, but never mind. Yeah, so it was created for the UESC competition 33. The idea is when it's on land, it grabs this, which is a deployable buoy, transports it out, and if it's in space, it does exactly the same for that. Whilst it has this very large hangar, which could be used for transporting all sorts. So anyway, that's what that little one is for. This was a concept for it, and as you can see, this one has just the control block and a seat for controlling it, and again the same thing. And I wanted to try and make it as light and as small as possible, and as powerful as possible, but there you go. So that's that one. Now let's get rid of this one, because this doesn't need to be here, and you do find they lag things out a little bit when you start leaving all sorts of bits and pieces lying around. Now you probably notice there's a few little ships down there. If we just take the hoods off, there we go, a few little ships there. I will introduce them to you in a minute. Now over here, now this one has not yet been published, but this is my new little outpost. It's outpost number Mark 3, and the idea is I wanted a blueprint for an outpost for something that could either be used as for a target practice, or something that could be used any base, anywhere, that sort of stuff. So it was just a quick one I threw together. As you can see, it's not even been painted. Anything that's not been published to a certain degree yet is either not is not published, or it's just a concept. I like to work with the grey blocks because it simply gives me an idea of the design first, and then we'll just take it from there. Yeah, so anyway, as you can see, the idea is rotor turns, puts these in whatever direction it needs to. You can set it to slow rotate depending upon what settings you've got in your world, whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. And the idea being is you set the rotor speed, and as the sun comes up, it's showing fully. It tracks the sun through the duration, and then it's pointed in the right direction as it goes down. And in the meantime, it continues to turn, so it's prepped and ready to go on the things. I don't know what the timings are yet. I have to work them out, and when I do, I shall write a little list out, and that will give you an idea then of what speed settings to set for it. But in the meantime, here we are. It just has basic landing pad, collection port for anything like that you need on that. There's a little hydrogen tank, there's an arc furnace, refinery, there's our assembler. I think it's got a few cargo containers at the front. If we just zoom around here, yep, a few cargo containers for putting your stuff in. You've got two section levels to it. This one is your med bay, where you would spawn. You've got your timer block, and I think on the other side, yeah, there's your programming block for that. Stairways, batteries there. Leads up to level 2. As you can see, another oxygen generator. Now this one also means that you can set it up on bases like moons and that sort of stuff. There's your air vent if you need it. Now be aware, obviously, if you open the doors and you're in a particular environment, you will lose all the oxygen, so just be aware of that. Control seat, displays for information, anything you want particularly set up, and yeah, on top just your you've got a port here that if you want to put up a turret or something like that, you've got that. Your standard beacon and antenna for here, and like I said, you've got batteries, 2 batteries. I tried to keep to the same the same amount, like 4 batteries and stuff that is on the lander, the atmospheric lander. Now I should really have added in a cryo tube for this, but I haven't done so. I should really add one in here, down here, but we'll get around to that eventually. Like I said, that's one of the reasons why it's not published, because I might change it slightly at some stage to add in a cryo tube. Right, what's here? This is the setup for things like the if you remember Black Armor's turret deployment system or turret deployment vehicle, this is how I did mine. I was looking to put this also on a bigger scale so that it could be used for ships. Now I'll show you what I mean on that. Let me just bring the character over here, and we'll just pop him down in a seat there. So there you are, the character's there. Now as you can see, there's a couple of little controls. I haven't set this on any timers or anything else like that, but the idea is very simple. Is obviously you would disconnect, and then you do that, and they whiz around, turn around. It means you can literally, because they're on merge blocks here, the small merge blocks, and we've got also our thingy there, a welder there, means that if they take any damage they can be welded up. The idea, the concept behind this was very simple. The idea was that these were deployable on a ship. Simple as that. They could be connected to a small grid, connected to a large grid ship, and because they're merge blocked in, they wouldn't cause the latency lag and stuff like that, which you would have elsewhere. So here's the original concept. Here's how it was all originally set up, as you can see. But no, I also wanted to use it on a big ship, but like anything and everything else, it's going to take time to get it sorted. I quite like that. It's a nifty little thing, you know. And they spin round, and of course they can be reloaded once they're reconnected through to the connectors there. So anyway, let's move on, and we'll go and have a look. There's some more of the little turrets down here. This one is the rocket one, which is remote controlled. As you can see, with this particular one, it was the Gatling guns there and remote, so this one's supposed to be the more deadly of all these, but yeah, we'll see. Right, let's move on over here. You can see, because I work out in the outer space section, plenty of room to move around. Now, this is a very old design. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to come back and revisit old designs, update them, change them, improve upon them. And this is obviously, when this one was first built, there were no such things as atmospherics. There was no such things as oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen generators I think weren't even around on this thing. This is going right back to when I mean, good grief, look at the amount of gyros that were on this thing. I mean, now, good grief, yeah, gyros galore on this bloody thing. Oh, weird. It's strange sometimes seeing what we originally thought were great ideas, and then suddenly you find it's not. I mean, here's a typical thing. This was, now obviously I wouldn't just use a connector. I'd have also used a merge block to connect it through to the ship, so that it would stop any problems with latency and stuff like that, or drift whilst you're flying around. Yeah, ion engines. Yeah, It was a lovely thing, a lovely idea when I first created it. But it's not there for it's not the point for that now. Oh well. Right, so yeah, this is hopefully when I finish it, this will be the updated version. As you can see, the cargo containers. Again, I want to create a system where you can take one of these, put it, when you're building bases and stuff like that, you need the parts, so you could load up a small cargo container, connect it up to a ship, and off you go. So it's going to take a time. It's going to take a way to build it, but I'll get there. We'll work it out. Right. So again, here's all the things. This was my very first ship for exploring the galaxy. Yeah, this one is this is literally before I'd even. I started off from the base. I went wandering off, and suddenly I couldn't find my way back. Uh, in my very first time, I spent, I can't even remember. I was in creative, and I spent 2 3 days in real time just wandering around the galaxy, um, putting bits and pieces up. And of course, as I put bases up, they disappeared, and this that, and the other, because I didn't know about block limits or cleanups or distances and all sorts. I mean, now different settings are different settings, but yeah, is it a lovely little craft? Overpowered like crazy. I mean, look at this. We didn't even have to worry about linking powers up. There was no need to worry about uranium. I was in creative, overpowered. Completely and utterly overpowered. Anyway, this you may recognise. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a little fighter which I built. Oops. Let's go back to 8 there. It was a little fighter I built. Yeah, to for one of my ships. It would dock in. Again, no merge block. So of course, as the ship moved around, this would drift or possibly go on to cause further problems. But anyway, that was a little fighter I created. Now, let's move on to what we've been working on recently. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tartaross has been forced to give up doing space engineers. Now, I only discovered this a couple of months ago, or rather a month ago. We all know Tartaross. He made some absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful designs. But unfortunately, Tartaross has not been well, and because he's not been well, he took some time off, trying to get himself sorted out. And unfortunately, it sounds very much like the gentleman has had a stroke, which has affected his ability. Now, English is not his first language. I believe German is. And as a result of that, because he can't talk correctly, even in German, which is his primary language, he has absolutely no chance of speaking to us in English, and it's such a shame. It means he can't do any YouTube. Go to Tartaross YouTube channel, you'll see what I mean. I can't explain it properly, but basically, because he's become ill, because it sounds like he's suffered from a stroke, he is no longer capable of speaking correctly and thereby making YouTube videos. He has a friend who's read out a letter for him on his behalf. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he, in a sense, now has given up playing space engineers. I wish him. I've left a message, but I would recommend, please go and go to Tartaross' YouTube channel, see him there. Leave him some love, leave him some good wishes, because the gentleman really could do with it. But unfortunately, yeah, he's gone. He will no longer be working on anything in the near future, or even in the possible future beyond the near future, until he recovers. So it was thanks to him that I started this. This is what this is. It's basically I'm trying to take inspiration and doing stuff using blocks. Now he does use modded blocks to for his builds. So because he's using modded blocks, and I have a tendency not to in my construction, I try to emulate what he does, but using vanilla. I don't succeed a great deal of the time, I'll be honest with you, but I do take inspiration from what he's built. So please go see Tartaross on his on the YouTube channel. Leave him some love. Show him how much we all care, and let's hope that he has a speedy recovery and comes back to us. So anyway, let's quickly move on now to these. Now, what are these? Now, these are, as you can see, small grid ships. But I created these again. I created these because of my turret deployment unit and or turret deployment vehicle, whichever. I can't remember which one I did now. Did I did TDU? Hang on a second. Let me see. Turret deployment unit. Mine is the unit. Black Armors is the vehicle. So yeah, that's my unit. So I built the turret deployment unit. Black Armor did the turret deployment vehicle. We have to be careful which way around we get it. Yeah. So there you. Yeah. So that's the one I did. And out of that, if tell you what, if I just bring that up and we pop a copy down just for a second. There we are. Just pop that there. There we go. Now at the back of this, you'll see a tiny little drone. Now this little drone I built to help reattach the turrets, and that's the general idea. You take control of it. Once the turrets have done their job, you take control of the turret remote drone. It helps to link the turrets back onto the main ship, where they can be reloaded and rearmed, and if needed be repaired. So this little turret, this little thing here, was a useful little piece of kit. Let me just delete that off. There we go. We take a copy of this. There we go. As you can see, it's a no, we'll get rid of that. Yeah, bye. Don't need you. Don't need you. Thank you. Yeah, so this is it. This is a little unit, or a little drone, and I found it to be, well, quite powerful actually. I was quite surprised just how strong this little thing really was. So I thought, ooh. So I stuck a cockpit on it. And if we go into drone, you have to excuse me, I have quite a few OC little drones. Now I'm not too sure what those drones are. Prototype drone. I have all sorts of stuff on here. It may not even be under the drone. Let's see. Mini helper. Mini helper. Have I renamed it under the atmospheric helper? There we go. So that's the one I want. It's yeah, so I thought, ooh, here's an idea. I'll put a cockpit on it. So I took the gubbins off there, stuck a cockpit on, because obviously, you know, why not? It's got a little air vent because it's only supposed to be used in atmosphere. Has all the little gubbins at the back. And again, I tested this and I was like, wow, what a great little idea. Well, that has led to these. I thought, well, I'll take the concept and see what I can do with it. So I developed and designed this little thing. And it's fast, it's maneuverable, it flies around, it's great. and it's cheap to produce. So I thought, oh, why not? I thought to myself, well, what about space one? So there's a space version with it just pure ion instead of obviously atmospheric engines. There's ion engines. And then I thought, come to me, I wonder, can I take it into space? So I started making an alteration, and I put hydrogen, because obviously, I'm thinking, well, if I want hydrogen engines, I'm going to have to see something. So obviously, I'm thinking, well, I don't have the platinum to build these things for the ion engines, and if I want to take it into space, well, that's slapping great big ion. How do I do it? So I thought, right, hydrogen. Well, again, the same thing again. I didn't want to push it too hard because obviously it's a simple case of I need hydrogen. I needed hydrogen, but I didn't want the great big. Excuse me. I didn't want the great big tanks. So I thought, oh, and that's when I came across a little ship that Keen did, where you put. In fact, if you go back to Sage's videos, Video Sage on his single survival, his last one, Video Sage came across the same little ship as I came across in one of my little survival at Worlds, and it's just, I don't think I have it, but I don't think I have a blueprint of it, which is a shame. Let me just check. Now, small grid? Will it be on a small grid? I don't think it is. Small ship. I don't think it is. I don't think I have it. Which is a shame. Key? Nope. No, I'll have to find it. But anyway, it's there on. It is there in Video Sage's videos. Little blue ship, nice little thing, and it gave me the idea of using just oxygen generators. A couple of back-to-back oxygen generators. I don't think we can get in here and see them, can we? Can we? Yeah. Oop. There we are. Back-to-back oxygen generators. So that was the idea. So we have the link through to the cockpit, which is on that one, the link there, which in turn leads to there. So I thought, ooh, will it work? So I have been tested. I tested this on a real single survival. I've tested it in multiplayer, and the bloody thing works. I was impressed, and I'm like, wow, yeah. So this one's actually ready for ready to be put on the workshop. So I shall do that for you. So as a result of this, I thought, can I stick a drill? Because what would be easier than just getting in there? Because they were so small, I could get in, drill, take what I need. I can even drill for ice, saves me having to faff around, and I can get a lot of platinum. So I thought, yeah, why not? So that's basically what's happened there. And like I said, they're all lined up, everything's ready to go. I've got lights on one of these flashing away. Which one is it? I think it's this one up here. Are your lights flashing away? One of them. So that's the I think it's this one. Yeah, let me just have a look. Let's see if we got the lights on. Yeah, so you got nav lights, you got all sorts on this. Yeah, the nav lights on this one. Oh, there you go, that's better. Yeah, so it has nav lights, it has hydrogen, atmospherics, a couple of batteries. It's great. It doesn't it's not overpowered or underpowered, so you won't have to worry about your power, things like that, which is great. It has all the requirements. It's cheap to produce, very, very cheap. So if you want to produce it in your single survival world, it's there. I've built 3 of these things already with literally no problems. Like I said, very, very cheap to produce. And I thought, well, what could we go further? So we've built this one. And this one, as you can see, is hydrogen based, atmospheric based, and has 2 very big bugger hydrogen engine, ion engines at the back, and it also has a small set of hydrogen thrusters there, and it does the same thing very much like the other one. It is a bit larger obviously, but it's designed as to use all 3. So obviously you start off with one, the small one at the back there, the small atmospherics. You can then upgrade it. Let me see. Yeah. So you can build this one first, which is the small atmospheric one. Then you can expand and build this one next by slapping a couple of thingies on the back, oxygen generators, which will allow you to create the hydrogen. Obviously, banging the oxygen, the ice that you need. Which will allow you then to build this one if you wanted to put the ice in, to go and mine some platinum, which would lead to this one eventually, which you could use as obviously a fighter or whatever you wanted to. So there's the evolution of that one. So it started off with this one over here, this little drone, went to this one, came over to here, went to that one, then went to that one, then the next stage was this one, and then finally this one. So that's the final development stage of that little drone. And like I said, I wanted something that could be built cheaply when you first get into your survival world, that could help you out. So there you go, that's that one. Now, some of you may recognise this. This is my Harrier, and truth be told, I've been looking for the next upgrade. I love this thing. I must admit, it's become a little bit of a personal favourite of mine. I did it. How could I put this? I don't want to sound big-headed, but I found it to be very, very. I've built this thing at least 3 or 4 times in different survival worlds. I found it to be elegant, simple, cheap to produce, easy to produce, and I've been looking for the next stage, something that I can go further with, and I've been trying. So this is the latest development of the one I've got. I'm not happy 100% with it. It's got the weapons and everything else. It's similar in design, but again, I may publish this one. I'm not 100% happy with it, I must admit. To me, it doesn't have the elegance of this one. It really doesn't. That's me why I just think this is very, very elegant. This one looks a bit clumsy. Yes, it's got the cargo containers there, it's got a jump drive and stuff like that, but it doesn't have the elegance of the other one. So, I'll say that again, what have we been working on today, or over the last few days? Well, what I've been trying to do is, I wanted to take the idea, the concept of the UESC contest that I entered, and I want to see if I could put something like that into a real live survival world. So we have this concept craft here, and obviously I could put these small ships in there. This is a big hangar. This is a very, obviously the buoy wouldn't be there, and obviously that wouldn't be there, but this is a very large hangar. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 high, double gates obviously. It has some, it does work. with the atmospheric engines there, the hydrogen engines there. You don't need the ion engines for it to work. You do not need those ion engines for it to work. But I thought, well, how can I take this further? So I've been looking at, I want to take this with those small ships I've been building, which are these. There's my new atmospheric miner. This one is actually an old design which I've made some modifications on, but I find this one so bloody useful in single survival. As a startup miner on as a small grid startup miner, it's probably one of the best small grid startup miners I've ever built. Now this thing is useful as hell. It's pretty cheap to produce and can mine and produce, or rather it can mine up to almost 800 kilograms during your mining operations. And it has a way down, if I just come down here, has a way to get rid of any excess, so it can eject the stone down here at the bottom. But it can also do it with ice and stuff like that. Hang on a second, folks. Right, so as I was saying, it has its ejection ports there for stone. It's very cheap. To a certain degree, it is a little bit overpowered in regards to the lifting thrust, but that lifting thrust is very important. What gives it the ability to lift and carry so much ore. Believe you me, you build this. Now I put this. Now the original design didn't have the cockpit on it. I've changed it to have a cockpit, and I've gone back and I've altered the blueprints. And I did it for a reason, because of the controls with the remote control block. Now obviously the limitation on the camera. With any mining machine, you need to have that freedom to move the camera around so you can look at things, and this one does the job now. So one of the other things in fact I've not even done it here. Let me just 8. There we go. Now if I yeah, that's one of the other things I've forgotten to add on to it. So that's literally is like that. Now, because of the design, because of the way it is, it's very unique. It will lift, like I said, it will lift a considerable amount of energy. So I wanted a ship that can carry that into space if need be. You could take it with you. You could take this one, and you could take your small flyer, and obviously you can lock them down with the landing legs. This one, yeah, there's the landing legs, and obviously this one doesn't have them on, but I would have to put landing legs on it. Now I'm very leery of landing legs. I mean, we all still know that they go boom bang bang. I don't know whether they've sorted out. I know that they screwed up the merge blocks, which in itself doesn't help. So right now connectors seem to be the only reliable source of way to link a small ship and small grid and large grid together. So, but I've put them on in the hopes that they will lock on, and then that will be it. But I've used these as my primary form of landing, so I don't have to have the landing legs on. They can just be there to help provide certain things. But yeah, so I'm trying to work out a methodology that allows me to move these things in and out. Now obviously there's my hangar bay doors, and as you can see, the ships would be able to fly in and fly out, no problem whatsoever. But I was thinking, well, rather than a small one like that, what about we do it from the top? So I've been looking at this, but again, I'm running into difficulties, and I'm trying to figure out a way of being able to create a. I don't obviously use mods when I build stuff, because I like it's one of those things. The great thing about mods is they can allow you to do stuff which are not part of the game, so you can go further. However, the other problem with mods is that unless the creator keeps on top of them, those mods, and as I found over a period of time, those mods can become broken. Now that means several things. It means your ships, if you come back to a ship, say 6 months, 7 months down the line, that suits your purpose, you suddenly think, oh, I've got a ship that can do that, and it'd be perfect. Or I've got a device, or I've got a land vehicle, I can build that in my single survival and that'll work. And you come back and suddenly half the mods that were on that ship or on that landcraft or whatever are broken. Either as what's happened with Tartaross, he's become the modder or the author has become ill, or he's become disillusioned, or he or she, well, I say he, I should say really the author, because we don't know if the ladies are doing them as well. So if the author of the mod becomes ill for whatever reasons, or no longer wants to play Space Engineers and just gives up playing it, or the author at the end of the day decides that it's not worth it, or Keen have done, and we all know this, Keen have done something to screw up the mod. They've changed the way things are, the coding, and as a result of that, we end up in a situation where the very mod that you put on doesn't work or has disappeared because it's obsolete. And I've seen too many mods go obsolete. So what I'm trying to work out is how to create a bigger hole, so that a ship like this can literally just fly through and down without hitting the sides. And obviously, like a lot of other people, I'm hitting the same problem. Now I do know that one of the things is I want a hangar that is viable. Now the one thing I could do obviously is I could fly it through that way, and I could fly in like that, and of course then I've got a 4 large bit hangar, no troubles whatsoever, and like the design over there, like the Pathfinder design, I've got a very large hangar, and obviously then my only limitation is that. But I don't want a very, very tall ship, because tall ships, yeah, don't get me wrong, tall ships, yeah, great, wonderful, but then you're going into something like this. If we just zoom over to here, we're talking about a very, very tall ship. That in itself can cause problems, because once you start going to that, you've got a lot of space here, but then you have to expand out either to the sides or whatever, to create a viable ship, and you are stuck then with your basics is starting with this, the square. That's what you're basically looking at, the square. Now if I could create the same sort of, I say like half the size of this, or just 3, instead of being 4 high, just make it 3 high. If I could create a hangar that's 3 high, from there, so 1, 2, 3, I've then got to figure out a way to close the gap there and close the gate, which means I'm still going to have a tall ship to put the other airlocks, you know, the hangar bay doors in, because no matter what, I'm still going to have that full gap. Now, as you can see, I mean, I've dropped down that, so I've got 3 high like that. So there's my 3 high, but it looks inelegant. It really, really, really does. And I'm not pleased. I'm not happy with it. So what am I after doing? I want a hangar that can be able, I can fly into from the top using, and these little ships can fly in for me. Now the other way to do it is to literally create individual bays for these ships. That's the other way of doing it. So you have, you know, it flies in one, and then you can have the little ships. If we grab this one. Now, obviously, I could use the little hydrogen one. Sorry, not hydrogen, ion one that's over there. I could fly it around, but I prefer to do something like this. Now, if we fly over here and we go down, there we go. So, oops. So the object is, oops. See, that's something I really is annoying me with these things. B. So there you go. So we could fly something like that into it. Let me try that again. Like so. So we can have that. Now, as you can see, that just barely fits. If I was to close that, let's just grab let's grab a block for now. If I just grab that and do that, as you can see, that would barely make it through. But that tells me that ship is now small enough that I could have just three tall. Now the problem being is I would have to have a 4 tall for, where is it now? Just go and grab a copy of this. Grab a copy of that. Thank you. So this is where you I do a lot of testing with these things, because it's that testing that makes the difference. Oh, come on, God! I tell you one thing. Oops. They don't give some shit. Look at this. You're trying to assess something. You know, it was a wonderful idea, Keen, great, wonderful, but one of your biggest problems is you've screwed the pooch in things. You really have. Because one of the problems is with that stupid square thing that you put up, you've now made it almost impossible to control it. Oh, I swear to God, sometimes Keen, they come up with a great idea, but sometimes that idea has gone south too quickly. Right, so one of the things, there we go. Now, as you can see, one of the things we have to be careful of, there we go. So you see, this is how I test things. So if we do that now, that says to me I could have a door like this, yeah, great, and I could have a door like this, yeah, great, which is what I was looking for. So it would allow these ships, these small ships, to come in and out, which means that I can now create an atmospheric ship, or rather, I can create a hangar. Now, how can I explain this? I want to create a hangar in which my miner can come and sit. So what I can do now is if let's go to here. So I can do this, and that does that, and it allows me to link up to that. Now I can now use that as a basis for things. So one of the other things with this is if we look and see how much room, now because I've already got this partly built, I can now count the blocks. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm looking at 7 blocks long, just to store this in. So what have we got here? So that's 10 blocks long. So I could store that in, but I could add in, because we know these are things. You see, I can do this. I could say, right, 1, 2, 3. I could add in these little ports. We'll make it 4, because we know 4 works. And then we've got the back end, so that. So we know we've got the back end there. Now that means that these little ships, can come in, drop down, and back off to the side. And if we were to put let's go 2 and 4. So that creates a well, or side hangars in which these ships could go. There we go, and 4, like so. So there you go. So that gives me then an idea of how big roughly my hangar will be. Now you've got to remember, I want to build this in survival. This is a big mainstay. I want to build a large ship in survival that's as elegant as the Harrier, that has the ability to take off and land on planets, like I said, I do think this is a very, very elegant design. It's one of my best. That has the firepower protection of this sort of stuff, because don't forget, I also want to put I want to develop it where I can add in, as I get the parts, I can then add in the ion engines, so I could update it to the ion engines and have the firepower to protect it. And when I say the firepower, I'm not just talking about these turrets, the small turrets, but I can grow the ship because I've got a pre-developed plan. So like I said, I want to make it as elegant as the Harrier, as powerful as the Harrier Mark III with, now if we just come here, I'll show you another thing. Now this is the Condor. Now this Condor I have tested. Okay, yeah, this is the updated version, but I know this Condor has the ability to lift 5.5, at minimum 5.5 million kilograms. So that doesn't only mean it can lift itself, it has the ability to, I mean, look at all those hydrogen tanks underneath there. Look at all the atmospheric engines it has, the ion engines, the hydrogen engines. So I know that this ship has the capacity to lift. Now I've built this. I've built this one. Not this particular version, but I've built one of them. And in fact, it's if you go to my webpage, my YouTube channel, Lord Wraith on YouTube. Just type in Lord Wraith on YouTube. Please subscribe. You will see that I have a video on there from one of the very early ones I did over a year ago, where I tested this, the original version of this, which if I just let me just get that one up. Now it was, I think it was a Mark C. Is it Mark C or Mark? Yeah, it was a Mark C. Now this Mark C, as you can see, C as I say, the Mark C didn't have the jump drive on because at the time jump drives weren't there, but it was elegant enough and it helped me build my skybase. But as you can see, this one literally has everything you need to get going. Now obviously I had the twin antennas, blah blah blah, this and the other stuff I didn't really need, but as you can see there are also hydrogen engines and ion engines and atmospheric engines, and this thing worked with absolutely no trouble whatsoever. Like I said, this one lifted over 5.5 million, almost 6 million kilograms with virtually no trouble whatsoever. So I know this one works. I know that this design will do the job, and that is what I want for this. I want a design that is as powerful as those two, as elegant as that, as has the firepower and more of that. In fact, has the firepower of the Razorback, which if I just do Razorback, this is my Razorback. I hope to God this thing doesn't do stupid things. So the Razorback, probably OTT'd, but yeah, this is the Razorback. Now this was the original idea behind everything, and as you can see it has cargo capacities, it has engine capacities which are ridiculously overpowered. I should never have done that. I was yeah, I was never pleased with that. In fact, I tell you what I'm going to do, I was never happy with this, because as you can see, just too many stupid small atmospheric engines. But if I go to try and add in the larger atmospheric engines, which is this, if I go and try and add in, we have a problem. As you can see, so I would have to get rid of those. And again, because of that. So as you can see, we're starting to go daft now in regards to things. Let's get rid of that. We've got the setup there with the refineries and stuff. I wanted this originally to do a number of different things, and halfway through the build I changed my mind, and that's when it went daft. And let me just pop the Razorback in. Let me just do another version of the Razorback here. Let's get rid of this one. Yeah, bog off with it. Let's come down here. Let's go in here. So this is the original Razorback, and yeah, as you can see, if we go, as you can see, it's the weight alone is 3 million kilograms. So the ship itself weighs 3 million kilograms. If I come through here, there is my med bay, my cryo tube. Come further down, come round here and out the back. Oh, excuse me. Oh, you can tell I'm live. Yeah, so as you can see, we come down the back here. There's a walkway out the back here, which is copied on the other side. If we just come through here, yep, there we go. It's copied on the other side. If we come up, this is the other side of the ship. If we come through again, everything. So this is the Razorback. It was okay. It was a good ship. I like it, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted more. I really did. I wanted a ship, again, overpowered, overarmed, not greatly not brilliantly designed. I mean, good grief, look at all the weapons. The idea was I was going to use this to take on the pirates. That's what my idea. But the problem being is, and here was a couple of vulnerabilities. The atmospheric engines here, ion and hydrogen. If I was to lose those at the front, I had no way of stopping other than those. So at the back, so I want to literally develop engines that can give me power in all directions without losing. Even if I take on the pirates, I would be able to do it with no trouble. So that's a Razorback. That was one of the ideas, but no hangar. No hangar. So powerful as it is, I'd have to start building small ships. There's no way to drill. With the Condor, I could do the drilling. Yeah, great, but again, no way to get into the things. Now with this, again, once you're on land, once you've landed on a planet, whether it be whatever, with the Condor I have no weaponry. So when the spiders come up, or anything, because that's what I intended to do. That's what my intent is. Not just to land on planets, but also to land on the alien world, Mars, Titan, that sort of stuff. With the Condor, it's great for getting off the atmosphere. It's great for that, but has no defense. This has no hangar, so I've no way of great defense, all round turret. Yeah, brilliant. God help any creature that get near it, wolves or whatever, but no hangar, no way to carry anything. The Harrier, lovely design, elegant design. I wanted to expand on it. This is the expansion. Not happy with it, so now I need a design that will allow me to carry these. This is my atmospheric miner. This is a small miner that works atmospheric and hydrogen. This is my atmospheric shuttle. I can put 2 of these in here. I could have a second one linked up if I wanted it, which would, I could put that one in there like that, link it up there. As you can see, this is slightly off, so if I do this here, we can take that, and now we can, there we go. We can get rid of that. We can do that, do that, do that, do that, do that. Now what this is doing is literally allowing me to, what I'm trying to do here is just literally find a way of storing more ships. So I now have a large hangar, so I can have this sort of hangar. I've now got 5 bays. I can store that one there, which is great. I've got a methodology for getting these ships in and out there, or I can do just simply do this, which would, if I do this 3 and we do this, boom, that, and we do that, see, now we've got those. So now we don't need, we would not need these at the front, so we can get rid of those, and we can get rid of those, which means that we could hire that now to do that, like so, and that would mean that we could do one there, and you see that that would mean that that would have to be now so this is where it starts to get interesting. This is what I was saying to you about your designs, because this is where things start to go south. So now we have a problem. Yeah? So we can do this. Let's see, where are we going to go with this? So this is where, now I could create this, not a problem, which gives me that, which then gives me a little bit of a lip there, protects the ship. No, you see, I'm not happy with that at all. So I'm going to do this so we don't split it in half and lose. I'm going to come back down 3, I'll do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got that. And we'll do it from the top, like so. That I'm happier with, because I can live with that. Yeah. So again, the problem with this is you're creating a very, very narrow gap to come in here, which is why, I mean, this one's not so bad. We've got small ones here, yeah, which would allow us to come in here, which means that because of the way that is, we can now get rid, like this. We can get rid of this, put that there like that. Now we know we do that. See, this is where things start getting interesting, because this is where you start looking at, well, can I have that there? Can I have that there? You know, am I creating the right sort of environment? So we've got, if we come here, as you can see, that takes up a three blocks. Oops. You know, there's 1, 2, 3. Now if I shifted that over to, it would be a 3 block without any trouble whatsoever. So if I bring my character in and we jump in this, now I come across like that. Now because that's a 3, look at that. So that's why I say you have to be very, very, very careful, because they have to, I mean, this thing is just barely fitting. I mean, one of the things I could do to ensure that things don't go south on me, if we do that, one of the things I could do is to bow that in by using these blocks. So we would have those sorts of blocks there, like that, which means I would then have to change this one and this one. So we would do something along the lines of, something along the lines of that. To get that right, so again we'd have to put 2. So these are the sort of things we're looking at. As you can see, the development of any ship can take a time or two to create. I mean, you know yourself from when you've built your stuff how it can be. So now if we take this one, don't forget this is just purely the little atmospheric one, so it has no engines. It cannot fly or maneuver itself around here in these conditions. So that's it on that one. So again, it would come down, it would connect up. It is only 3 wide, but that's how you would be on that one. And I mean, again. I could organize things like this. Um, we could do this. That one that way. That one that way. Yeah, we're going to burn that off. We're not careful. So we want to be, oops, one that way. Oops. Let's put that there. And also put now what I'm doing here is basically just putting in temporary engines. All it's going to do is literally allow me to maneuver it around. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not looking for any thing. It's just to allow me to maneuver this particular ship. So forward, back, left, right, up, down. There we go. So that's all this is. It's done to allow me to test. As you can see, there's virtually little or no power in this bloody thing because of the weight. So we'd have to come down like that. And I want to test to see how easy this whole thing would be to work with. Because obviously, you know, if I'm using this in if I'm going to be using this you know, I have to be confident that I can spin this around. Because don't forget, this thing will be, you know, it might be heavy with thingy, or it might not be. But I do need to see how and where it sits. How it's going to sit in the ship itself. Because by doing this, I get a good rough idea of what I'm looking at. There we go. And that's what I want. I want a good rough idea of what it is I'm looking at. So as you can see, we've got plenty of room, but do we want to increase this to give a greater opening, which would allow taller vehicles, land vehicles? I could create something in there, stick them to one side, or what? What are we looking for? Because, like I said, a lot depends on how you want to view your ship. I don't particularly like tall ships. Well, I say I don't like tall ships. I prefer ships that I can work with, which are not tall. I mean, I find an elegance to the sleekness of like that's why I think the Harrier is such a sleek design, and the Condor has the elegance to it. The same here to a certain degree. You know, the Harrier 3, the Razorback has a nice sleekness to it. This has a nice sleekness to it, but when you start going to when you start putting certain things on, that's when it can start looking a bit. Now, don't get me wrong. Some lads, I say some lads, some engineers, some designers, they have a wonderful way, a wonderful concept, and I really, really do sometimes envy them. But I like to build to practicality. That's my thing, practicality. Now, here's a question: should I add in another set of? Should I make it 5? I think I'm going to make this 5 because that is too small. I prefer to have the extra room sometimes. So 3. So let's do that. Let's do that. And just by doing that, we don't have to worry too much because we've increased our door width, but like I said, it's nothing big and it's nothing major in that regard, because all we're doing is just doing that. Now, this could be used to port out all sorts. I mean, like we could do this. Let's pop that. Now we've lost that one, which means that we've lost it on the other side as well. So let's get rid of that. And now, fine, right, let's do this, try this out, 8. See, you could do things like that. Now that immediately changes the nature of the game. How do I mean that? What do I mean by that? Well, look at what we've done. We've now gained hydrogen tanks at the back end. Now we could put in refineries there. We could put anything. We can link them up in different ways, but it allows us to look at the ship now in a different light. So if we wanted to, we could say, right, hydrogen tank at the back here. We could run hydrogen tanks back here like this. Yeah. Which would give us something like that. Now, that's all well and good. Let's just pop that off there like that. So we've got this sort of design. Now that's an awful lot of hydrogen tanks. Don't forget, like I said, we're going to be building this in survival. Now I may not like that. I may think, oof, that's horrible. And the truth be told, it's not doing anything for me right now. So I may back this off and say, right, you know, not going to have that. So let's get rid of them. Boom. So what would we have, say, up close like this? Well, we could look at what else we've got. So let's pop that there. Step back and go again, like, yeah, like so. Now obviously Have we got the same thing? Oh, good. It's mirrored better. Sometimes you have to be careful of the mirroring on these things, that they can be a pain in the bum. So there we go on that. So anyway, that's just some thoughts. That's just the way I'm looking at certain things. Can we make it elegant? Can we make it creative? Can we make it look interesting in the way we do things? We'll work with weight limits. We'll work with, you all know there's different ways of doing things, weight limits, that sort of stuff. So you can do all sorts of bits and pieces. That's the beauty about the game. I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to do a bit more work offline. So for those who have been following this on the YouTube, thank you very much. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. As the old saying goes, does help me in the channel out. For those who are watching on Twitch, thank you very much for joining me, and I shall catch you all again soon. Take care. Bye bye.